Welcome back to another episode of AJ Larkin Garage. Today I am doing open heart surgery on the FGX. We've got a full fuel system upgrade that I've got off the Golby's website. You can actually buy this kit. I'll put a link in the description below. This is a complete OEM factory upgrade. You don't have to change pretty much anything. You're just changing injectors, fuel pump, and a fuel reg. Some injectors you need to change a rail. I'm not sure which ones, so don't get at me on that one. But this one is a complete upgrade kit. You don't have to change rails or anything. So the kit comes with either a 460 fuel pump or a 525. They didn't have any 525s, so they upgraded me to a 535 fuel pump. So this is all sitting in the tank. It comes with all this wiring. It's got all the connectors you need, a fuel regulator with a nice gauge on it, some nice fittings. We'll go through how all this mounts up. More clips and plugs and all that. All this shit for in the tank. Nice mounting bracket. Some big boy 1000cc injectors, which will squirt a lot of fuel into our engine to make a lot more horses. So I'm very excited about this. Yes. So, where this is all going to be going is just in here. That fuel regulator will bolt into this section here, and it's going to be freaking awesome. After this is done, we are needing a tune. The tune is already booked in. I'm excited as shit about that too. So once these injectors and fuel pump are in, it's not being driven. So stick around and follow me on the journey of putting this shit together. As with all things when it comes to technical information, consult your Ford Bibble. You need to make sure that you have one of these that has so much useful information. It has everything from troubleshooting to like wiring diagrams, all that shit. This isn't sponsored, I'm just saying I'd be lost without this thing. Very useful bit of gear. Anyway, we'll yeet that out of the way. We're going to get into the fuel tank. Now, move that racing helmet out of the way, don't need that. I suggest doing this with an empty tank or a very, very, very low tank. Because if the tank is full, you're going to have issues because there's going to be fuel freaking everywhere. So we need to pop this up here, and then we'll be able to get to our tank, which should be about yonder. So I will quickly pop this up. You should just be able to pull it, and then it'll fold up, and you can pull this whole section out, and then we'll go from there. Okay, so to get your seats out, they can be a bit of a pain, but what you've got to do is you push them back and then lift it up. Then this whole, and you've got the other side because there's a clip under each side. And then this whole section will come out, and I've just gained $2, mate. $2.50. That's a cheeseburger. So yeah, that's how you get your seat out, and then to put it back in will be the opposite. So we'll get this out of the way so we can get to our fuel tank top. Okay, that's how you get that top cover out. Just pull it, there's a little clip. And once we got that off, we can see, move this, but we've got wiring here. So the wiring that comes with the kit is on the inside of this tank. So we need to take this off, undo these lines. We'll probably mark them so we know which one goes where, but you've obviously got your inlet into the tank and then your exit to the motor. And then the third one's probably for something that we haven't got hooked up yet. So we'll spin this to get this undone, and then we'll pull this whole section out after we've undone all this. That's it. Okay, we've got this off. The easiest way I've found is get a really small flat blade and just get it in the front and lift the little tab up in here to pull it back without breaking anything. And because I haven't got the right tool, because once again at AJ Larkin Garage we're a bunch of backyardies, just get a little screwdriver into the sides of these clips and just gently press them forward as you put a little bit of pressure on it, and they'll eventually pop out, and then you do the other side that pops out. Like I said before, zip ties on one of the hoses so you know which one goes where. You could use coloured ones, or you could just mark it. That's not going to come off, so we're happy with that. There will be a bit of fuel that'll come out, so make sure you have a rag with you so you can cover it up and like stop fuel pissing out everywhere. This is going to just fall on top of the tank and go on the floor anyway, but it's going to stink, so we'll cover that. Next step will be to spin this whole cap around and then pop it up. So I'll bloody cut to them. So to get this ring off, get yourself a chisel and a big punch. Get yourself a big chisel and a hammer. That's a little hammer. And then get in there and tap on these little cutouts that are here. And then that'll spin and unlock the tabs that sit on in here. So that's how to get that ring off. Once this ring is off, you can hold that. Thank you, gentlemen. Once this ring is off, I'm pretty sure we're gonna have to leave it in there. But we can then take out the top of our tank. Ta-da! That took longer than expected. All right, so now we've got that out. We could then prepare to put fuel through the whole freaking car. All right, here.
We got a bucket.
We need a bucket. We do need a bucket. There's a bucket up there. We might have to grab that. There we go. And it's got these two wires that are in here, two little ones. They're on a separate plug. So what we can do is gently unplug them. Hopefully.
And don't let it fall on the tank.
Yes. So we've got them unplugged. Now we're going to put something on top of them so it doesn't fall into the tank, because that's going to be an issue if it does. Not too sure what that might be for. That might be for something. I'm sure a Ford genius will know. So those wires there will be for your tank level, I think, because normally they'll have a hanger that'll sit off here with a little float on it, and that'll tell you how full your tank is. This must have one that's separate to it, so we can confirm that if you wish, but I don't really want to have to do that. So inside this cup here is where all the fuel sits, and then your pump will sit inside here. It sort of acts like a mini surge tank, sort of. It just holds the fuel in there a bit better, so when you're accelerating it doesn't run away from the tank and then run the tank dry. So we're just going to have to dump it into this bucket here. So make sure you've got a bucket with yourself when you do this. So we'll just chuck this in the bucket, and then we'll take it out of the car and pull the pump out and have a gander at it. Oh wow, that is it's still full as. Ooh.
They're not very, they're long, they're not deep.
Oh, that burns. I got cuts on my hands, that's burning. Ooh. Alright. So to get this bottom section away from this section here, just get your thumbs in it and push up, and you'll feel it go, and then you should be able to lift this up. Now you're going to have to undo these wires and pull these hoses down so that you can then pull the top completely off out of the way. So I will cut to that now. Alrighty, so we've got it all apart now. You just pull it out. These hoses will stretch. Just make sure you unplug this plug here. So we'll pull that up here. I cut this hose to get it off because we're not using this. The upgrade kit comes with a new pipe as well, and it's slightly bigger to suit the pump. Now that's our old one. Now I'll need to find the big one. I've just put it somewhere, I can't find it. Okay, so here's our new pump. There's the side-by-side comparison. So, direct swap-in replacement, which is freaking awesome. So now we need to change over, because this plug is what's on the new pump, this is on the old pump. The kit comes with stuff that we can swap these over with, so we're going to do that now. Like I did say, it's a full plug-and-play setup, so it's pretty mint. I will be keeping this pump for a future project. No doubt we might just get a budget drift car, and an XR6 turbo fuel pump will probably be better than whatever's in it, especially if we go to turbo convert something. So this will go into the spare pump department. So now it is swap over everything, make sure we got all of our bungs and plugs off, chuck it all back in the way it was before. It'll be a reverse scenario to what we just did. All these will fit onto the factory spots, and then it's back in, do up that cover nice and tight, and then we're chucking on our fittings back on. And then that'll be the fuel tank section of this. And then we've got to move to the front of the car, because then we've got to pull off the fuel rail, pull injectors out, pull the fuel reg out, and go fit all that stuff, which we go to right now. So now at the business end of the rig, we're going to disconnect our battery because we don't want any sparks or anything like that happening. And then we need to undo all of these plugs. Now the easiest way to do these is to get a flat blade and get in behind it and flick it forward. Watch out, because these little clip things in here, They're an absolute pain in the ass, and like a little spring will actually shoot off and disappear into the abyss, so you'll never find them again. So just be a bit careful with them. Once all those injector plugs are off, we need to undo the rail itself. So there's a, I think looks like a 8mm bolt down here, another one a bit further along, one down here too. And then we're also going to have to disconnect our fuel line right here and down in here. So we'll smash all that out, and then once all that's out, we can then disconnect. Well, this is all going to be coming out. We can then show you all of this extra stuff down in here and what we're replacing. So yes, I'll try and time lapse it. So we're now undoing all of our clips, which is tremendous to do. Can you see? Yeah, sort of. So once again with the flat blade as always, number one tool in the workshop here, and we'll keep them separate. Once that clip's off, we can then pull our plug off and that'll be out of the way, and then just repeat a whole bunch more times. Yes. Okie dokie. All our plugs are undone. Now we're gonna actually have to undo the fuel lines at the chassis, down the chassis rail there. So I've got to jack the front of the car up, chuck a jack stand under there, get under it and do all that. So we might actually get everything up this side loose, so everything's almost ready to come off, and then get under it and undo that section down there, because I don't really want to be crawling around too much, especially while the tank is still open, because we're waiting for our boy Jaden to get back with some heat shrink so we can heat shrink up our plugs. So of course we're going to have to connect this to this, so it's open-ended here and it has the plug that suits this plug here. So we're going to cut the original plug in half and then solder them both together and then heat shrink it so it's nice and sealed, and then we can drop this back in the tank and it'll all be happy to go. It shouldn't actually be that full that it'll overflow. There's still a fair bit of space between those, so should be good. Just got to make sure that this rag doesn't fall in there, because then I'm going to have a stanky rag. This isn't an overly hard job to do. It's just painful when you're trying to record shit and explain it as you go. I'm sure you guys, if you're watching this and going along, it'll be a lot quicker and easier than me recording it and then trying to explain shit too. And plus I forget shit that I'm trying to explain, and then you guys correct me in the comments, so I appreciate that. Alrighty, so under here you can see where we need to take off our hosing. These two right here, that's what we need to do. So we will mark them, which one goes where, and then we'll take them off and do them. Okay, so to get these fuel lines off, they're quite easy to do. You need to push them forward and then pull this little white tab backwards and then pull back, if that makes sense. So forward, pull back there, and then they'll pop off. They'll go on the exact same way too. Be careful, there'll be a shitload of fuel in there. And also, once again, mark them. I've marked the inlet line that goes up to the bottom of the regulator, and then we're going to have to sort this out once it's out of the car. So that's what we're doing. So yeah, just remember these are full of fuel, and you better put a bucket to catch it all. Okay, those lines are disconnected at the bottom, so we're just going to pull this rail out. It's going to be a bit tight because of all the seals that are in there, don't worry. Once it's out, we're going to put it straight in a bucket so all the fuel can get out of it, and then we're going to go through it. And the boys are here, helping. Spectating. Okay, so we've got our rail out, injectors are out. All our injectors are sitting here. We'll go through replacing those in a sec. We've got to replace our regulator. So we've got, undo this bit, that goes in there, the clip goes back in. I'll show you more once it's all together because it's a bit hard to explain. Is it working? I think it's working. So if the audio's a bit munted, I just poured petrol over the GoPro. Filming is that painful today. Hey bud. Okay, after a bit of confusion, hours of just the website shows obviously how it's meant to go together. We went off some diagrams we found on the interwebs, which look slightly different.
I'm not happy about it, but sure it is.
Yeah, So this one is actually a full bolt-in, so you can just pull your old reg out of the top of the rail and just put this in. So it'll come in through the reg, back through around into here. It's a bit different to a normal way, the normal one is done.
Your factory reg comes in through the center, just like an oil filter. In through the center, up the top here, some magic happens in here, and it comes out through the back bottom here. Same thing.
Yeah, you can see how it works.
This is your delivery line, comes in there. So the way they've got this working, if mine confused us, came in through the inlet, which was the inlet, and then it goes through here, which is now the outlet. So it's actually, goes through the middle here and then through the return. So now it's feeding through the return. No one seems to tell you that, not even the Golby's site.
Yeah, the Golby's doesn't have a diagram for it. It just, they have a picture. We probably should have just looked at the picture, but it's all good.
It's meant to be backwards, and if you don't know that, it'll just confuse the shit out of you.
Yeah, so it's in like that, back in. So it'll be sweet. Yeah. The next step is obviously putting our injectors together. These ones have a little sleeve here. So just put a bit of engine oil on there, and then they'll just push on nicely. And then we're going to build them all together and then slide them in here. When you put them into the rail, chuck a bit of engine oil on here. That's what the specs say.
Or rubber grease.
Or rubber grease. They actually suggest not using rubber grease because it can clog the jets. But yeah, put a bit of engine oil, slide it in there. Make sure obviously your things are the right way up. And then we can put it back in the car and get it done. But it's getting late. We have a barbecue tonight, so we got to get it done. Okay, all our big boy injectors are in. The lock clips, make sure you put them in as well. So now we're going to flip it, drop it back in, and then once it's in the car, we'll drop our fuel reg on, which is just over here, and get back under it and plumb everything back to where it needs to go. Okay, everything is all hooked up now. All the clips are in. Our beautiful little fuel reg is hooked up. All the vacuum lines are hooked up. I need to still jack the car up and hook those lines up underneath. So I'll go do that now before I forget. And then we'll move on to the fuel pump. Jaden gone. Final piece of the puzzle, our big boy fuel pump in here. It's a 535. It's a bit overkill for what it is, but they gave me a free upgrade. They didn't have the 525. So hopefully this is not going to be too noisy. If it is, we can just pull it out and put a new one in. It's not too hard to change a pump. Okay, so we're going to go back in and pretty much do reverse what we did to get everything back together. And then we might obviously put it on accessories and check for leaks. Everyone's a bit on edge. Done a lot of stuff today. Bit tired, mate. So we'll smash this out real quick so you can go have a feed. Yeah, battery back on. Okay, now to the scary part. Either we've done this correctly and we have no leaks and nothing bad, or we didn't wire up something properly and something sparks and we blow up and die. So what we need to do is put our accessories on, which will prime the system, and then we can check for leaks. Okay, we're filming from the get-go, so if something does go wrong, you're going to see it and you're going to get a genuine reaction to me shitting my pants. Okay, here we go.
It did go up, but
no leaks, but
no, it's not pressurized.
Why isn't it pressurizing? Oh, because there'd be a shitload of air in the thing still.
Ooh.
What?
Bigger. Bigger. See what it does. See it start.
We got pressure?
It keeps getting pressure and then it spikes back down.
So you reckon start it now?
Well, it's not really recirculating.
Oh my goodness me. Oh my hat.
Is it in neutral?
Yeah, it's in neutral. Okay, here we go.
You got real fat, real thick.
Oh, that sounds like a good t-shirt. Alrighty, so we now, unfortunately, we can't drive it until she gets tuned. Everything seems pretty good. So I'm not going to root around with the pressure settings on this. I'm going to get my tuner to do that. I think the winch, I just done something really sharp. I think the winch is going to be able to pull the car on. So we have no choice. Ow, I got shit in my foot and I can't walk properly. God. So yes, now all this is done. I'll quickly go check up in here for leaks. We haven't got any. Brilliant. And I will check underneath for leaks. No leaks. Fantastic. So that's pretty much done. Next video will probably be the intercooler one. Or some other one. I'm not 100% sure how we're editing it because I haven't even got the intercooler yet. So thanks for watching. Have a quick gaze at it. I got new plates. Kind of got some new plates. And it's official. How gangster is that? That's mint. So thanks for watching so much. Hope you liked the content. We'll continue to try to put out the content. We hit 400 subs pretty soon, like recently, like a few days ago. Yeah, huge thanks for everyone that watches and supports the channel. Means a lot to me and the boys. So thanks for watching. Keep doing what you're doing. Like, subscribe, share it to everyone. Show your mother, your grandfather, your dad, everyone. And we will see you next week.